Okay, can you run that back one more time?
Over the past week and a half, there have been 3 broadcasts, all localized within the Severine area. All 3 of these broadcasts have featured stories all surrounding teenagers who died by unspecified circumstances. Within that same week and a half, there have been 3 missing persons/homicide cases, each one following soon after a broadcast. The first of these was Lucy Dale, 16. In the very first broadcast, the storyteller told a story concerning a teenage girl named Lucy who met her end in a forest. Days after that, lo and behold, Lucy Dale's body turns up in Redfield Woods, just 100 yards outside of her family's forest property. Soon after, the storyteller told a story about a kid named Aaron. Soon after that, Aaron Jefferson, 17, also turned up missing. Then again, there was another story about a kid named Randall in a library. Just a few hours later, who do we see reported missing? Randall Davis, 18, whose last known location was inside the Severine Public Library. There's a pattern here. Teenagers within this town are disappearing, and either this is all a big coincidence, or the storytellers foretelling their disappearances.
Look, not to say that I don't believe you, but I don't know where you're getting this information from. Because I've been monitoring Severine's public broadcast for over a week now, and outside of the actual storyteller videos themselves, the only report of the 3 mentioned here that I've seen is that of the discovery of Lucy Dale's body. And even that barely got a minute of coverage. Now why is that?
I noticed that too, and I think I have an explanation. None of the actual missing person cases were giving coverage. I had to dig through the police department's online database to find anything on them, which is odd considering that the other missing person cases, all within the same time frame, had full-on case files and investigations attached to them. These 3 had barely anything other than a photo, a profile, and a report of when and where they went missing. Lucy Dale was only given coverage because her body was discovered by a civilian, and it's not like you can just brush that under the rug.
Wait, are you suggesting that there's internal interference on this? That someone within the police department is trying to cover this up?
Well, you know as well as I that the policing system isn't exactly impenetrable to corruption. Someone, or something, could easily convince a few higher-ups to look the other way.
Not bad, kid. Looks like you might not have needed me after all. Because you did most of my work for me.
Well, don't get impressed yet. There's another piece to this puzzle I can't quite figure out. This is what I need your help with. This symbol. It intrigued me somewhat, and I didn't know why, so I decided to look into it. I found that it was the calling card of a local gang of religious extremists in the 90s calling themselves the Children.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the Children. I only worked a few cases regarding them and their sick fascination with all things relating to the dark arts, but those few times were enough to shake me to my very core. Far more than anything else I've encountered in this career. They went about increasing their influence through instilling fear and pain. These people were dangerous and cruel. They used dark magic like a toy and had no remorse for the lives they destroyed. Fortunately, that kind of life doesn't exactly promote a long life, so most of them died young. I think that the last of them actually died about near 20 years ago in a fire.
Exactly, 20 years ago.
Come again?
The fire. The one that you described, the one that finished off the Children. It was almost exactly 20 years ago. I know that because the day that fire happened was the day that I was born. I know that because it was the day that my mother died. It wasn't just the fire that killed her, you know. Sure, she suffered third-degree burns all over her body that weakened her and crippled her, making it so she could barely breathe, let alone give birth. Sure, the 8 hours of labor that followed certainly didn't help. But it's not like it would have happened otherwise. She was the picture of health the day before. The thing that prevented it from being normal and healthy was the filth that lit that fire and stole her life away, leaving the little kid to finish her off without anything to call home, and to top it all off, a murderer the day he came into the world. Sure, they got what they deserved, burning to a crisp within that warehouse, but their legacy still lives on in him. And now, that legacy is hurting more people, killing off random kids, and manipulating the justice system so that nothing is done, and no one knows. That is why I contacted you. That is why I need your help, so that I can stop this monster perpetuating a legacy that has taken away the lives of so many innocent people. So the last question I need answered is this. Will you help me find him? And will you help me stop him? For good.
If he is using the power of the children to hurt innocent people, then there's no way that I'm not helping you. Any information I can scrounge up from past case files, any contacts that I might have that could provide any insight into this case, I'll find it. However, I can't actually get involved with any of the actual confrontation. That's gonna have to fall to you.
That's just fine. I can take him if I need to.
I'll see what I can find.
Welcome back, faithful viewers. In recent times, I've found that the world can be particularly unkind, especially to those in power.
So know that, because I am one in such power. This may be one of the last broadcasts that I project, though do not count on it. My time is coming, whether that be through my own end, or the end of something or someone else entirely. Even with that in mind, I cannot forget my main mission here. My mission of telling you a story, as the possibility of this artistic endeavor ending looms closer. Allow me to regale you with the tale of another's art and another's end.
Iris was a nice girl. She was extraordinarily kind to everything and everyone, including plants and animals. She often told people that there was a beauty in everything living, and that anything beautiful deserved kindness. As you can imagine, many people thought of her as weird or stupid, but she was anything but. Her mind was as sharp as the steak knives that sat unused in her kitchen, and she was hyper-aware of everything around her. Thus, on this particular occasion, it didn't take very long for her to figure out that something was very, very wrong. It was a lovely morning. The sun was shining, the birds were singing, and the light shining through to Iris's kitchen table was creating an almost magical, ethereal glow. You couldn't ask for a more perfect morning, so Iris had taken it as an opportunity to paint. She was an excellent artist, and it had seemed as though the universe had given her an excellent opportunity to practice that art. While she painted, Iris enjoyed listening to music on her mom's old boombox, particularly whatever was on the radio. Listening to old CDs or choosing what songs to listen to, it always felt inorganic in a way to her. All this is to say that she was listening to the radio while she painted on the deck, taking in the morning stillness when a certain song came on.
Daisy, Daisy, give me your answer too. I'm half crazy, all for the love of you. It won't be a stylish marriage. I can't afford a carriage. But you'll look sweet upon upon the seat of a bicycle built for two.
It was a sweet song, and there was nothing that immediately concerned Iris. But then,
Daisy, Daisy, give me your answer due.
it played again. This Iris did take notice of, as what kind of radio station plays a song twice in a row? Still, she didn't find much reason to be concerned and kept on painting.
I can't afford a carriage, but you'll look sweet upon the seat of a bicycle built for two.
The song ended, and then
Daisy, Daisy,
it played again.
give me your
Again.
answer due.
Iris noticed now and decided that something must be up with the radio station, so she switched frequencies. Nothing changed, so she switched the radio station again. Still no change. She went through all of the stations and found nothing changing at all. So she realized that something was very, very wrong, and that feeling only deepened when she shut off the radio, only to hear the song still. She tried very hard not to panic as she realized that the song was coming from inside her house, and it sounded a lot less like it was on the radio.
For our love to flower, but still you wait and hesitate like you're trying to get away.
Arming herself with a particularly heavy brush, Iris slowly made her way inside, following the music. As she slowly advanced, the music got louder and louder, sounding less and less like something that actually came from this mortal plane. Iris's fear grew and grew inside her chest,
Or as you say,
her heart thumping like that of an anxious rabbit.
I won't hesitate to make your fate a secret only.
Then, suddenly the music stopped. The silence lay thick over the dark corner of the house Iris was now standing, her brush raised in the air in case she needed to strike. She didn't dare move, the only sound being the thumping of her heartbeat. Suddenly she caught something in the corner of her eye. She turned around, ready to strike, and then... Well, let's just say that no one saw or heard from Iris again.
I know that I seem unthreatening. Sure, my show can be somewhat unsettling, and I am very aware of the effect that I have on others. But I know that most of you see me as no real threat. And that is alright, that is totally fine. I do not intend to be a threat to most of you. However, it should be noted that I am not one to be trifled with. Very, very rarely are last chances presented on a silver platter for you. There are always more stories for you to tell. Choose your next story wisely.